Superman Lost, issue 2, Christopher Priest writing with Cargo Pugilane on the art.
Yeah.
Did I say Cargo? Carlo.
You did say
Pugilane.
Cargo.
Yeah.
Carlos. This I really enjoyed the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
This one was a tougher hang for me.
Really?
It was
okay.
a lot of sciencey stuff. And I like Priest getting into how Superman powers work. I never really care, right? I'm fine with he's a living solar battery. Him getting into Superman, his body experiencing gravity different, and that's how he was able to survive the black hole stuff. I mean, that's okay. But he kept going back into that, and I felt like I was reading a textbook at that point about how science stuff works. Outside of that, a lot of the character stuff with these people on the planet and how Superman's trying to relate to them by using stuff from Earth, I thought that was a really nice touch. So, what do you think initially?
Yeah, I quite like the issue. I think he did go back to that gravity talk a little bit much, but
yeah.
Other than that, like I thought the way they were handling like Superman's like trauma of like being gone and he's like not breathing properly because he's he's used to try to hold his breath in space, and Lois is trying to tell him, hey, you need to breathe, Clark, you need to breathe. Like I think seeing the fallout of how much it's broken him being out there for 20 years until he got back is quite good. We also get more snippets of like the actual incident because it kind of skipped ahead to him just like disappearing, whereas here we get no, he made the choice to go with it, thinking he could get back relatively quickly, not realizing he'd be gone for so long.
He thought he was only going to be a little bit out of the solar system, not as far away as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and all the art with Lois holding him as he's lying on the floor, I thought all that stuff was really good. And then the stuff with the aliens, like I wasn't expecting him to like go through like 2 different types of like culture like this quickly. Yeah. He meets the big aliens on the ship who look childlike, but they're much taller than he is.
The big green ones.
Yeah. Well, they're orange, but they're wearing green outfits.
Oh, that's right. Kind of remind me of Explorers a little bit, right? The way that they're talking and, the way they bring him in. I did think that was a little bit of a because Superman, which we don't encounter that often anymore, but it's very golden agey where he was able to use he's able to condense oxygen down to make liquid oxygen to get through space until they could find him. It was a little bit of a reach, but it's fine for the type of book that this is. But I did like his interaction with them just because of, the way that they're processing language and the way that they talk, and they're almost talking down to him.
Yeah, that was the other thing I like, because once he like gets dumped down on this planet, and I like that as much as the gravity stuff comes up a bit too much when he's getting really technical about it, I do like this idea that, okay, he's on a planet with a slightly different type of sun, so it's like, he can still fly, but he describes it as feeling like he's got a tank in his back, like he's much heavier, so it's not as easy. I kind of like that idea, and I also appreciated that when he's talking to like the guy in charge of this like farm area, and he says, "What's your name?" and he says, "Victor." He's like, "Oh, hello, Victor." He's like, "No, I think there's a mistranslation here. My name's not Victor. That's what I am. I am the Victor," kind of thing. That's an interesting little dialect like difference. That's kind of cool.
And Superman puts together who he is from that. Like he's the one that won, and what does that mean, for the society? Because you have where he lands at, it looks like this derelict city that's been through an apocalypse, and starts flying around the planet, and he ends up in this farming area that looks a lot like Kansas.
And there's a really interesting detail here that everyone here on this planet is all wearing like gas masks because they've had this war and the air's unbreathable to them. But to Superman, it's perfectly fine because it's actually like Earth's atmosphere now. Like they think oxygen's toxic to them, and they're like, "You're breathing oxygen," and he's like, "Yeah, love it. It's great. It keeps me going."
Yeah. Well, and then when he meets the Victor, right? He's not wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, he's behind like the wall, and he's in his like farm area. So presumably all of his crops are making a nice little pocket or whatever. So. Yeah, no, all this, I thought was interesting. I thought, the Victor basically helps him by giving him like a jetpack and like a breather and sends him on his way. So the end of the issue is just Superman flying off with his jetpack.
Very sci-fi pulpy look there at the end.
Yeah.
Almost reminiscent of Orion to me.
Yeah, because he's got the glowing white light suit, and then he's got like this big clunky red, green, and purple jetpack. That it's like, it's kind of interesting. It does make me think, okay, what adventures is he going on? Because it doesn't feel like a lot of time has passed yet. He does say he's confused. He's not sure if he's been missing for days, weeks, or months yet. But it doesn't feel like we've cut into a big chunk of this 20-year gap yet, I would assume.
Well, and again, and I'm going to throw back this old gem that from years past is, as Interstellar taught us, right? Gravity dilates time. So, who knows how long he's been out there at this point, just existing because of the black hole. So.
Well, yeah, but I think in this case we do know, though, because like when he comes back and says it's been 20 years, obviously the point is it's not been 20 years on Earth, so it's been 20 years for him. Like, so what I'm saying is that so do you think we've already wasted like half of this 20-year gap with him just floating?
Not half of it, but like, how long was he passed out for before the big green aliens found, or the big orange aliens found him? We're not too sure, and that adds to his confusion.
Yeah, because I think for his experience it's going to be 20 years, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of that. Yeah, so I'm curious what like areas he ends up in where he's going to be there for some time. Like, what's going to keep him? Is it just that he's that far away? He's in a completely different system. He's in a different galaxy, and it's just going to take that long to get back. And it's all the adventures along the way as he's coming home, kind of thing.
And I hope it kind of gets along the lines of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, where we get to see these different alien cultures and him interact with them more.
I mean, the fact that we got two alien species in this issue makes me think we're going to get tons of that, because they've already done two in one issue.
Yeah. But but I want to see him like kind of like Supergirl in some of those where he stops to help them, not just go through and because that's to me that's what Superman does, right? He can't help himself. He sees someone in trouble, regardless. He's gonna stay and help. Maybe that's what adds to him staying longer, right? Like maybe he has a way home, but he decides like I can't just turn my back on these guys. I think that'd be a fun little wrinkle. But yeah, I really like the art though.
Yeah,
like
the art's good.
The different sci-fi kind of tropes, like those masks, and when Superman goes to take off the mask to talk to the kid, and just the panic on that kid's face, it shows through really well.
Yeah, he almost kills a kid by taking off his mask, the fool. Actually, I like the art a lot as well, and I think there's good little moments like, I don't know what you call it, like in a movie you'd call this like a little silent edit where you'd put in like a little flashback to something while in the middle of a scene, but like in here what I mean is there's like an extra little panel as like Superman, we're getting the flashback of Superman making the choice to take off the lasso and go with the ship because it has to leave, it has to jump, and you get this just little panel of him saying to Lois on the way out the house, I'll be back in a minute, I'll be right back. Just there's that little moment of like, oh, that turned out to be a lie. He didn't know it was a lie, but it turned out to be the biggest, filthiest lie. Just a little moment like that, it just has this bitter moment of reflection, which I like.
He broke the #1 rule in horror movies: never say "I'll be right back," because you won't.
But he didn't realize he was in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Do you believe in horror movies? Because you're in one.
Anyway, the stuff at the beginning too with Bruce and Lois, and how Bruce is helping Lois uncover this stuff going on, and it's all just a backdrop for it's almost like Lois is trying to distract herself from what's going on with Clark.
Yeah, actually, that's the other thing I liked about that. So I said that I liked how they're really selling like how this affected Clark. I think part of that is seeing Lois and Bruce like talk to each other about him. Like they're both concerned, and they're both like, but they're not including him in the conversation because he's too hurt. So they're kind of like talking about him in this sort of like almost parental way where he's trying to give her advice. Like it really felt like, oh shit, he's kind of broken, and there's two like his wife and his best friend are trying their best to.
Well, and that's what makes it feel so tethered to reality, right? Is that it is best friend and wife having the conversation about the dude that has just really seen some stuff, and neither of them really know how to break through. So they're relying on each other to get through this.
It does make you wonder how bad things are going to get like on this journey. It really does imply things are going to get serious, which is interesting, and I hope it kind of lives up to that. But I do honestly, my favorite snippets of the issue might be this stuff in the present day, and maybe that might continue to, as if we get like a little bit of this every issue to sort of just bookend it, or give it this grounding quality. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the Breathe Clark stuff was the one that stuff like when you watch movies about soldiers that have come back from war, right, and they just kind of get stuck staring off into space.
Yeah, the PTSD, the panic attacks, that kind of thing,
and that type of stuff. And for Superman, it's going a little bit different with him holding his breath, where he's fine, right, but for Lois, who experiences life as a human, him not breathing is not good. So, of course, her panic as his wife starts to poke through. But and again, the art there really, really sells it, to her coming up behind him and, just offering, comfort. Just real nice.
Yeah. All right. What are you giving Superman Lost issue 2? I'm
going to give him 7.5.
Yeah. I'm happy to give this the 8. I think I'm still really liking the book. It wasn't quite as tight as the first one, but there's still a lot of nice little techniques in here to make me care about what's going on, and the human drama element is my favorite part, which is is cool in a story that's going to have lots of universe trotting and alien races and stuff like that.
Outside the Because Superman stuff, he's very relatable throughout, right, on a human level. So that fixes it. Priest knows what he's doing. There's just some storyline stuff to get from A to B, that add up. But no, as long as this keeps going, and because this is 12 issues, right?
I want to say it's 10 rather than 12. Okay. Yeah. So, but maybe I'm misremembering, but I think it's 10.
Yeah.